Good afternoon, good evening, or morning. I'm your host, Josh McPhee. This is, of course, For the Love of Food. Today, we're learning how to cut an onion, introducing a new section called Kitchen Babes of the Week, as well as talking about knives for the first time. And when I say knives, I mean fighting a dragon. Check out my new intro. I want to thank my cousin for making that video. He's a professional at that sort of thing. I still haven't figured out how he got me in that chicken outfit. First thing we're going to talk about today are knives. I've talked about minor tools so far in your kitchen. Now we're going to talk about the really important things, which means we're going to spend a few episodes on our actual kitchen knife. It's the most important tool in your kitchen, absolutely. If you thought it was your microwave, in the wise words of my friend, you, sir, are a turd. First things first, we got to learn parts. This is my standard 6-inch chef billet. On the front you've got the point, okay, and then you have the edge, and it's divided into the heel part and the tip. The tip is where you do a bunch of your fine cutting, the heel is where you do your more chopping and bigger cuts. Opposite that you have the spine. On the back end you have the handle. Running down the middle you should have what is known as a tang. It's the extension of the blade into your handle. Up on both sides of that you then have scales, and these are connected by the rivets, which are those 3 dots there. In the middle of that you have a bolster, okay? What a bolster is for is it's where you hold your knife. Contrary to what most people think, you'll see a lot of people holding a knife like this. This is completely wrong. Don't do it. You actually hold a knife by the blade right there. You have a lot more control when you hold it like this. You can roll your hand a lot more. You can chop a lot more. Really, you just have a lot more control with your knife. The bolster also provides a lot of balance for your knife, so that you'll notice in a good knife, it is very evenly balanced right at the bolster where you're holding it. When you go out to buy a knife, you don't necessarily have to spend a lot of money. My other knife, so put this one aside, the knife that I've been using for a long time is just a Chicago cutlery knife. It was quite cheap, probably the same amount that you'd spend to go out to a bar on a weekend in a big city, if not cheaper. And it's got everything that the other knife had. It's not as well balanced, and it's really not as comfortable or good looking as my other one, which is why I got the other one. When you're looking for a knife, you want to make sure that it has a tang. If it doesn't have a tang, it's going to be a really cheap knife, as well as the fact that it's going to be very light and very unbalanced. Other than that, probably look for a bolster, because it makes it very comfortable to hold if you're holding your knife correctly. And really, the most important thing about a knife is you don't have to go out and spend $250 on the latest Henkel. What you can do is you just go out, get a regular knife, and keep it sharp. In order to do that, you have to get a whetstone to sharpen your knife. I'm going to show you how to do that later on in another episode. But it's really easy, and you can pick up a whetstone for really cheap at your local hardware store. Probably under $10. Things not to do when you're buying a knife. Don't buy serrated knives. If you're going to buy a serrated knife, just go out back to your shed and grab a saw, because that's all really a serrated knife is. You're not going to do, you're going to be okay at sawing into things, but they're just way too cheap and useless, and you don't want to use a serrated knife. Now you know some stuff about knives. Next week we're going to talk more about knives, and you'll learn more and more until you're an expert, and you can cut whatever you want. 2 weekends ago I put on a dinner party for 16 people, including myself and my sister and girlfriend who helped out. I want to give a big thanks to them, because I couldn't have done it without them. It was a 7-course French menu for 16 people, which is pretty nuts to rock off. I think we did it in less than 4 hours, so big props to them. They were awesome. Food was good. If you were part of that and you want to see, or if you weren't part of that and you want to see recipes that I did there, I'm going to put those all on my Blogity. You can check out the link in the underbar with all the other links. My recipe of the week is, of course, from there. It's going to be the rack of lamb that I did in there. Nice and easy. When I presented it, everybody's like, oh, this is so good. How did you do this? I was like, it was really easy. So check that out if you want to impress some people for Christmas at some point. The holidays are coming up. That's one that I would go to. Make your parents buy the rack of lamb and then be like, don't worry, I know how to cook this shit. So far we've done garlic, we've done pepper. Today, I'm going to teach you how to cut an onion. To Josh in the kitchen. Alright, so today we're going to learn how to cut an onion. There are a few things you need. You need an onion. You also need your knife. Sweet. And then, sneakily enough, you need a sponge. A wet sponge. You're like, why do you need a wet sponge, Josh? Well, the reason you need a wet sponge is that the things that make you cry when you're chopping an onion, I guess volatiles, are hydrophilic, which means they love water. So when you're cutting them, they are attracted towards your eyes. So, if you get a wet sponge and put it near where you're chopping the onion, you're hoping that those volatiles will go towards the wet sponge instead of towards your eyes. Or you can just be like me, wear contacts, and then it doesn't matter. Onion's got two ends here. You've got the root end and the top of the onion. Okay? I want you to take out both of them as so. Chop off both like that. After you're done chopping off your ends, okay? Take a knife, put it right in the middle, chop it in half. If you need half an onion, you use this half. If you need a whole onion, you can use that half. If you don't need that half, just wrap it up, put it in your fridge, and it'll stay good for a while. If you just want slices, then take your knife and just make thin slices for sandwiches. They're straight Subway style. The real trick comes if you want to make cubes out of this onion. So this is my little trick. Most people will tell you, okay, so this is like a contested way of doing things. A lot of people say don't cut towards your fingers. I say use the if you're not an idiot clause, which means that you can do things if you're not an idiot. Which means that you're careful about it, you're using a sharp knife, and you keep your fingers well away from the blade. Take your pickle claw, this is the claw that you use to grab pickles out of the jar, place it on top of your onion. Take your knife and start sliding this way. Okay? Make a bunch of even cuts on it, probably on an onion like this. About 4 of them. Then what you do is turn it towards yourself. Take the tip of your knife and slide it down again on even cuts, about the size of the chunks you want. Right? All the way across. Okay, then you turn it back like you were slicing, and you just cut again the size of chunks that you want. But the magic of it is that you should get cubes right when you're cutting. As you can see, I just come off with cubes because I've already cut the onion. And that is how quick you can cut an onion. That's it. That's all. That is how you cut an onion without crying. See? There's no tears there. No tears at all. Remember, the idiot claws and the pickle claw. Good luck. New section, which is awesome, because of course sex sells, is Kitchen Babes of the Week. Guys, who better not to start with Mrs. Giada De La Renta. Of course she is a babe, and especially when she looks like this. Don't worry for ladies, we have a babe of the week for you guys. I give you the guy who inspired my dinner party, Ludo Lefier. Babe. For all of you who love food more than you love babes, I give you foodporndaily.com. Check it out. This is this week's. Yum. That is it for today. Buon appetito. Again in Italian. For any links or any information that I'm talking about, I've posted a bunch of good stuff below, as well as a link to my cousin. Thank you again for doing that awesome new intro. It is going to be in every episode from now on. His websites are below. You can check out some of his stuff. Recipes, all on my bloggity. Check out my Twitter if you're on that thing and you're a tweeter. I'm not tweeting that often, but I try. You can leave questions, comments, or anything like that in my YouTube. You need a YouTube account. If you have a YouTube account, subscribe to me because it will help me out. And we'll see you next week. Enjoy your week and good luck cooking. Later.